Hi, guys, welcome back to a new episode of the Raw Honey Podcast. And today's episode is called What is Shadow Work? So, the psychiatrist Carl Jung was the first one who came up with the idea of the shadow. And what's the shadow? A shadow is basically the unconscious parts of the self, the parts of you that are the parts that are buried beneath the surface. It can be unconscious beliefs, suppressed emotions, primal instincts and desires, and of course, disowned positive traits. It's the parts of the self that we tend to suppress. It's the part of humanity that we tend not want to talk about. And unfortunately, we all have humanity in us, so we all have a shadow, which is sometimes very foreigner for some people since the idea of shadow and shadow work it has become associated with magic, it has become associated with your occult, and I do want you guys to understand what's the shadow. That's why I'm gonna go to extensive lens to explain, just because me myself was also confused when I got into the idea of shadow work. And I thought shadow work was just the emotion, which is not. It's the deeper layer. To be able to get to your shadow, you really do have to go to the deeper layer of it. And in a polite society, we are given some type of norms and behaviors that are known as good and bad. Within this, humans take this behavior and we adapt this behavior just because we want to fit in. And since we want to fit in, that means that we see and we follow. But everyone has a different human experience. Everybody experiences emotions and situation a different perspective. Within this is when the shadow comes because you create a mask of I'm fine, even though in the inside you might be feeling certain type of way. You might want to react certain type of way. You might be thinking things and is frowned upon when you let those thoughts come out, when you let that negativity, when you let whatever is considered bad come out. But a shadow is always going to be there, you wanted it or not. And the more you expose yourself to life, the more you're going to see the shadow come out. The way that I see it, maybe it might be clearer for you guys, is there's light, so there's also shadow. Just because humans are not perfect, and within our humanity, we try to be good, but some emotions are still gonna be experienced, even if they're considered bad. And I'm using the quotations a lot just because within the shadow work and the idea of shadow work, you come to comprehend, and even in astrology and in other concepts that I have stepped into my healing, I came to comprehend that there's light and the shadow and everything. Everything has a good and everything has a not so good side. And it doesn't make you or make me less of a human just because we experience this type of feelings, emotions, and beliefs. Now, let's talk about shadow work. When we step into the concept of shadow work, is taking that shadow and integrating those emotions, beliefs, unconscious traits that we have, and working with them instead of against them. Now, I'm gonna give you an example as a situation. You have a fire alarm that goes off. What triggers you to react is you listen to the fire alarm going off. Some people, the mechanism to react is grabbing the fire extinguisher. Some other people might do something different depending on whatever is that they have gone in through life. Now, what's the shadow? After you have the trigger, which is the fire alarm, after you have the coping mechanism, that is, you're running to get the fire extinguisher, you're hiding, you're running out of the building, then it comes the shadow. The belief that someone reactions, she starts screaming, she faints, because she believes that every time that a fire alarm goes off, that means somebody's going to die. That's the shadow. That's the unconscious belief that was created when you were a kid, that were created because life given to you. They were created because of the way that you grew. And having a shadow is just normal for everyone. Just making this a big point here because it's just a defense, and I think it's a mechanism childs use to navigate life. Because as a child, you might not understand what you're doing is wrong, but you see people telling you that you're wrong, and then you know that you cannot do it anymore. but you still have some type of feeling towards that because everyone is different and everyone experience life is different. That's what I wanted to like, clarify. Make sure that you're getting to the root of the problem. Make sure that you're really decoding the shadow, because if you are not, then you are not be able to decipher your reactions or know who you are. And the way that you react doesn't make you less off because you have a shadow. You just haven't integrated and you haven't worked with it. Now, stepping into shadow work is not something that is for everyone because of the nature of what you're doing. You really had to sit down with yourself without judgment. You really had to sit down with yourself and being able to detach from the emotions, detach from the situation, and kind of see yourself as a third person and see the situation from a third person perspective, that you can get feelings out of it. And if you are curious instead of judgmental, if you acknowledge that you might not like what you discover, if you're willing to take responsibility for your actions without blaming yourself, if you understand that growth is not a linear mountain, it's not a linear thing, it's not a ending destination. Growth, it keeps moving. Every single day you're gonna learn something new and grow as a person. And if you're prepared to pause when you become emotionally overwhelmed, maybe shadow work is for you. But now, if you feel emotionally floated when difficult memories arise, if you're currently in a crisis and you don't even get to meet your basic needs, and when I say basic needs, doesn't mean I don't have money to buy things. I don't have money to buy what I want. I mean, you already have a hard time waking up every day. You already have a hard time doing basic things, cooking for yourself, getting ready, thinking about anything that's beyond necessary. If you want to do shadow work because you think it's going to be a quick process and it's going to heal you right away, and if you believe you must face everything alone, this is not for you and you're still not ready for it. There's some care that you had to go through before you step into the shadow work. And don't take it as me telling you what to do, but take it as me telling you sometimes waiting and sometimes be getting prepared for this type of things is much better than just rushing through it. Because this is another saying my grandma used to say, which is la carrera trae cansancio, meaning running around makes you tired. And instead of running to heal yourself, maybe sit down with yourself because it's gonna feel uncomfortable. And this is one of the main things I want to say about shadow work. None of this is gonna feel comfortable and none of this is gonna feel rewarding. The days is gonna feel, wow, I have grown a lot. And those days that you're gonna feel, wow, I don't want to do this anymore. And that's, I think, the beauty of humanity. You get to experience a vast amount of emotions that is just make us who we are. Okay, now let's get to some prompt questions that I came out with to identify your shadow, to kind of get to the root of the problem. Take your time. Don't rush into these questions. If you feel like only answering one and then taking a week to answer another one and just stopping there and then taking a break and then coming back to it, trust me, is overwhelming. It's very overwhelming, the feelings and everything that's gonna come with it, but it's gonna feel so rewarding after you go through the bad. And I say this a lot, the only way out of it is through it. But shadow work is not one of the things that you just want to go through it. It's really a choice. It's really a choice to sit down with these feelings and recognize and understand that, okay, instead of me blaming myself and me feeling bad for myself and me punishing myself for not changing and doing things differently and fixing these behaviors and acting differently, it's better for you to sit down with yourself from the third party perspective and see, okay, but I have reasons to react this way. And even if I have reasons, this is something that I need to move away from it. Even even if it feels uncomfortable, it's very important. Feeling comfortable is never going to be a part of healing. Just know that. Feeling rewarding, feeling amazing, it comes later on when you work in the process. When the process takes a bit time, then later on you're going to feel the rewarding part of it.